our most popular machine is called the MindLab. This device will enable you to relax deeply. If you're somebody who doesn't tend to sleep very well, there's a session for sleeping, so you'll be able to have a really restful night's sleep. There are sessions for visualizing, so if you have a goal that you're aiming for, then you'll be able to visualize it very clearly and then help it to happen. There is a program for accelerated learning, so if you're trying to learn a language faster than before or any other kind of subject, or you want to get the most out of self-hypnosis tapes, then there are sessions for learning. And also if you feel a little bit lethargic at times, there's sessions for energizing to give you that burst of energy when you need it. Now the way you would use it is you would take a pair of headphones like this and plug them into the front on this side, and then we have some goggles, and these plug in at the front as well. Now the headphones are playing a pulsing type sound, a very rhythmic sound, which has a hypnotic effect, but the real power comes from the goggles. Now these goggles have 4 lights in front of each eye. Now when you put them on, you close your eyes, and the light flicker and the way it flickers and the speed that it flickers enables you to access particular mental states. So as you're watching this video now, your mental state is going to be in the beta state. You're alert, so your brain waves are oscillating very fast. Now when you're incredibly relaxed, you're generally in an alpha state, and the waves are smoother, softer. When you're fast asleep, it's like a slow undulating sea, very slow waves. So they're cycling like 1 or 2 times a second. So what the Mind Machine does to simplify it is that it starts off with the lights flickering at 14 times a second, which is around about where your dominant brainwave frequency is. So your mind locks onto that frequency, and then very slowly over time the flicker slows down, and as the frequency slows down and the lights flicker slower and slower, you feel more and more relaxed. And what you'll feel is a sensation of almost floating. You'll notice that your mind is very clear. There are few thoughts going through your mind. You'll be seeing colours, patterns, sometimes symbols and letters of the alphabet, people have told us. You may also see a particular scene or imagine yourself in a particular environment. Now, this isn't created specifically by the lights. This is produced through your closed eyes, by your mind's eye. So it's your mind that generates this. And to show you, the lights themselves are just red. So they are red LEDs. Despite the fact that they are just red, when you close your eyes, because of the way that these lights are programmed, you will see every colour. So you'll see reds and greens and blues and yellows and star patterns and everything. And that's what makes using the MindLab so enjoyable. Now the same goggles and headphones will also work with another machine we have called the Esprit. This is a budget machine which has 6 sessions or journeys. So in other words, there is a 30-minute program for relaxation. Reading on the back of here, there's a 15-minute program to energize you. And we have a number of programs for sleeping and for accelerated learning. In contrast, the MindLab has 25 sessions built in, so there are 25 different journeys that you can take, lasting from as little as 7.5 minutes to as long as an hour. And also there's some other abilities in terms of getting information from tape into the MindLab. If you are somebody who is a real experimenter, or you're a hypnotherapist or a musician, you may be interested in something called the Polysync Pro. This operates in exactly the same way again as the MindLab and the Esprit. The difference is that it is fully programmable using the 4 buttons on the front, the row of LEDs to select the mode, and the 3-digit LED display. And the sessions that you create with this can be stored onto cassette just like you would with a computer, and those cassettes can be used with the MindLab as well as the Polysync Pro. The Polysync Pro has 50 programs built in and the ability to create another 25 programs at any one time and store those 25 on tape. You may be thinking, well, what kind of sessions would I want to create? Well, if you had a particular piece of music, one that you've created yourself, or one that you particularly like listening to, it might be Tubular Bells 2 by Mike Oldfield. And you say, well, what would be wonderful is to create a light show with most incredible mesmerising patterns to go exactly with Tubular Bells 2, and the first side would last for about 30 minutes. So you would create a session using this to program the lights to do particular things and create certain patterns which should move in time with the music and create a really hypnotic journey. Perhaps you're a hypnotherapist and you want to create your self-hypnosis tape. And as you're guiding the person down into the depths of a cave, a quiet cave, you might say, and the ceiling of a cave are some twinkling diamonds. And at that moment, it'd be wonderful to have a twinkling effect in the lights. Well, you can do that with the Polysync Pro and create the most incredible light patterns that will synchronize exactly with your voice. With any of the machines, you can connect up your own Walkman or CD player. Here I have a Walkman on the table, and I connect the Walkman into the top of the MindLab using the free lead that you get with every Mind machine. Now what you would play through here is any tape you have. So if you have a tape with ocean sounds on or a beautiful classical piece of music, you can put that into the Walkman, play it through the MindLab or the Esprit or the Polysync Pro, and experiencing the changing light patterns by using, say, a relax session. So if the piece of music lasts for 25 minutes, on the MindLab you'll be able to press the relax button, the button for 25 minutes, and the start button. And what you would see is a light pattern which would go along with that piece of music. What is unique about the MindLab and the Polysync Pro, so it's something that the Esprit can't do, is to work with special tapes called Polysync tapes and the Polysync CDs too. These tapes and CDs are just like any other piece of music you would have, but at the beginning of each side of the tape are special signals which reprogram the MindLab. So in the case of the MindLab, what you would do is switch on, put the tape in your tape recorder, press play. The MindLab will hear the special signals on the tape which sound like squawking sounds. You won't hear them even though your headphones are plugged in at the front, because the MindLab masks them. The MindLab says, aha, what's coming up is a piece of music which lasts for 25 minutes and 38 seconds. The first 2 minutes is going to be a very slow undulating piece, and then it's going to build up and so on. It's that kind of descriptive language that's coming through in the 15 seconds. Once that happens and it's fed into the MindLab waits for the music to start, and then as the music begins, the lights fade up and you are treated to a mesmerising light show that synchronises exactly with the piece of music on the tape or CD. And then at the end of the piece of music, because the MindLab knows it lasts for 25 minutes 38 seconds, the lights fade out as the music fades out, and you are left feeling very relaxed and very serene. Any of the Mind machines can work for 2 people at the same time. So taking the MindLab, what we have here are 2 splitters. The splitter goes in the front into the light socket, another splitter goes into the headphone socket, and you feed 2 sets of goggles into one side and 2 sets of headphones into the other side, so that 2 people can experience the same session or piece of music at the same time. We supply extra sets of goggles, and you would use any headphones that you have with a Walkman or your own hi-fi, and use them with the MindLab. Now this works with the MindLab and the Polysync Pro and the Esprit.